Hey everybody, it's Brian and Carolyn from Strong Therapy.
Yes, hello. Thank you for joining.
We have a great guest this week. I'm very excited to bring him in. Kevin Dombrowski. He is an actor, writer, and comedian.
Yes, very funny man.
And those of you that don't know, he's hilarious. He's got some great shows. Hey Kevin, how are you?
Hi. Hello. The only acting I'm doing these days is pretending to be a parent. A kid is screaming in the other room. Hi, how are you? What's up, everybody?
No. Oh no, I don't like that at all.
Oh, it's all good.
I'm sorry. How old is she?
Just turned 1 on October 12th.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You made it to year 1 with your help.
Yeah, I did. It was like a prison sentence. Every day I survived, I just put another tally mark on the wall.
Yeah, and she's completely alive and thriving and all those good things.
That I know of. She's got a heartbeat. I don't know about anything else, but she's good.
That first year is very rough.
Yeah.
So we learned about you through Compound Media, also through Gino. I'm a huge follower of Gino.
Spaghetti.
That guy's a scumbag.
So how long have you and Gino been friends?
Oh my God. Can I say the hacky answer of too long? Gino Bisconti slept with my mother in 1985. No, Gino is the first comic I ever met. And if you can believe it, I met him through the illustrious phone call that we had at a pizzeria I was working for. So it wasn't even at a comedy club, because Lord knows he wouldn't be in one. I was working at a pizzeria, and I just started doing stand up, and they used to do shows with Gino, and they hooked me up with him to do like a show with him at the pizzeria as like one of my first ones. And they were like, oh, our buddy, actually, you know, it's so funny. I haven't thought about this in years. Our buddy Gino Bisconti used to do shows, and we started bonding over the movie Norbit with Eddie Murphy, the horrible one. They both loved Norbit to the point where they started a friendship, and that should have been the first red flag. And then we talked on the phone, and then we did a show together. And then I think we just both realized we like alcohol, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it just kind of evolved from there. And then he started taking me on the road. And before I had enough time, I would open for him, and I'd go, "What do you want me to do?" And he'd be like, "Do 15. I'll light you at 10." And then 15 would come, and he would never light me. And he would just keep doing this, which just means stretch. And I'd be bombing on stage, and he would be like, stretch. So he'd make me do like 20, 25, and then I'd do shots on stage before him, so I would get ripped. And that was basically how our relationship started. And then, thank God, I've surpassed him in every way humanly possible.
Now, you know, being someone that follows you now, and Gino and Aaron, I love backstories, of course, and I always put on like Twitter and stuff like that. I feel like it's a family, even though maybe you guys all think it's like weird that I feel that way. How did your wife come into the picture,
Mm.
and a lot of the fans would probably want to know this too. Your wife coming in the picture, and then you guys all live together. Am I correct?
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you live in a halfway house is you meet different people. Yeah. So my shit. My I'm sorry, I just got a text that I needed to come through and it didn't. What was the question? How did we all meet? As you can tell, having a kid has done wonders for my attention span. So Gino and I, the story continues where Gino and I were friends, and we would go out drinking occasionally and do the road together. And then I was working at a restaurant in Times Square called Ruth's Chris, and my wife was a host there, and I was a waiter, and we hated each other, and still do. And it was kind of wild where it was like I was like 2 years into stand up. I was in the city all the time. I just opened for Artie Lang at a benefit, and I had talked to Gino, and then Gino and Artie were buddies. Gino opened for Artie for years. And so like this whole like triangle thing kind of happened where I started doing new talent shows at Caroline's, and Gino would come hang, and then would like, text Artie that he was there because Artie knew me, or, I knew Artie and all this. So it was like our friendship kind of grew over that relationship. I was like a diehard Howard Stern fan. Artie's like one of my idols. So it was really fun. And Gino was someone I couldn't get rid of at this point. And so
still haven't.
Yeah, totally. So my Artie actually came in to eat at the restaurant, incidentally, and my wife sat him in my section. I hadn't talked to him in forever. And he was the only person that I knew through stand up. And now I'm, in like a full tuxedo waiting tables on him. And I went out into the lobby and I went, who sat him in my section? And my wife was like, oh, you're a comic, right? That's kind of fun, isn't it? And I went, why the fuck would you do this to me? I go, why would you? I'm wearing a full tuxedo. I know him through comedy. Get out of my face. I was really annoyed. And then he remembered me. And then I made it on his show. So my wife kind of holds that over my head of that moment. So that's kind of like the first time my wife and I had like sort of a real conversation was about that, where I told her to go fuck herself, basically. And then we ended up all hanging out at a bar, and I was hanging out a lot at a place called Coyote Ugly because I was an upstanding person in my 20s. And cool. We went from one bar, and they were like, let's move. And I go, oh, let's go to Coyote Ugly. And my wife went, no one wants to go there. And I went, you're not invited. And she sat in the front seat. And then Beatles music came on, and we both really loved the Beatles. And then I was like, oh, I love this song. She was like, I love this song. We were like, shit, now we're friends. So that's how she came into the picture, was through that. So then Gino and I were hanging the whole time. So it would go where I'd go on the road and come back late to New York for spots, or I would just be getting up late at night, and Gino would come meet me down in the village for, some drinks or whatever. And then my wife started hanging out with me as friends. We were just like, we would just get along. So it'd be like, hey, when you're done working, come meet down in the village. She lived with her sister. And it was like, oh, let's all just meet. My buddy Gino's coming. So then me, my wife, and Gino got really good at drinking together, to the point where we had a 3-week rule where if the three of us hung out one night, we couldn't hang out together for the next 3 weeks because we would get so drunk and hungover. So it was like, it was only once every 3 weeks that the three of us could hang, because we would just cause so much damage. And it just kind of went like that until, excuse me, I moved from Jersey, and my wife put me up on her floor. I had an apartment in Astoria fall through, and her and I were like best friends at this point, and I needed a place to stay. So she put me up on her floor in a 4-bedroom. She had her sister, and 2 friends from California. As her friends started moving out, she needed people to take the rooms. So one room opened up, and I went, what about Gino? And she was like, really? And I was like, trust me. I was like, the crazy Gino you know is only the Gino you know. I was like, you got to see the next morning Gino. I sound like someone that he's assaulted. The next morning Gino is coffee and lesbian music. And
I was going to ask about that.
Super pleasant, actually. The only thing I didn't like about living with him is that it was dirtier after he cleaned. For some, like, he would wash the dishes, and it was like, with the hurricane, what the fuck happened in the kitchen? Why is everything soaking wet? What, did you just pick up the hose and just squirt everything? That's not cleaning. So
at least he tried, because on In Hot Water, his coffee cup, they say things are growing.
Oh, yeah, no, he's disgusting. He's a disgusting person. So I texted him and I go, hey, I got a room for rent. And he needed to leave Brooklyn because his old roommate was taking his rent money and not paying the landlord.
Oh.
So he got evicted, which I think is a cover-up story just because he didn't have money. And I told him to move in. And he was like, well, I'm living like hotel to hotel and in my car sometimes, and I really like it. I'm getting a lot of work done. So if you can keep the room open for a month, I'll move in. So my wife and I actually split his rent that month to keep the room open so Gino would move in.
That was nice.
And then it kind of happened where the downfall was, as people moved out, Gino had people move in rather than me. And that was really when the place, I mean, you want to talk about a halfway house. It was honestly like a rehab center. It was awful. And Molly's, my wife's people would move out. Gino's people would move in. My wife and I started dating. And then I was planning on proposing. And we found a 1-bedroom in a really nice building. So we actually kept the apartment for an extra year as like landlords. We just like subletted and let everyone pay me. And then I obviously would give that to my wife and she would pay the bill. It was the worst fucking year I've ever lived in New York. Trying to wrangle people for rent in a 4-bedroom, basically, I mean, it was like a comedic whorehouse. It was awful. And
I wonder how the cleanup was after they were all out.
I'll tell you how it was because I did it. They left. They had to be out by, call it November 1st. And on October 31st, they all left in the middle of the night and left most of their shit there.
Oh, lovely.
And Gino was like, hey, I'm just going to come in. I'm on the road. I'll come in tomorrow and clean. I go, I don't think you know how leases work. You are not allowed in that apartment tomorrow. I'm not allowed in that apartment tomorrow. And if we get charged, you're paying that fucking bill.
Right.
And he was like, no, it'll be fine, buddy. Don't worry about it. And I go, no, you need to worry about it. I worry about everything. You worry about nothing. Somewhere in between is the correct answer. So my wife and I we worked till like 2 a.m. to just throw all their shit on the curb.
Oh.
Like a bitter ex. I just threw all of their shit that they left out in the apartment. It was a disgusting mess in there, and I doubt that they cleaned it up after they moved out.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I can't imagine. I've heard some stories about, you know, the monotony and the sex and the just yuckiness that went on. I can't even imagine. I probably would have had a body condom on to even go in there myself.
Yellow glove.
Yeah, just from head to toe, just like, ew.
Right. Well, the good part of living with Gino is it really trained me for COVID. The amount I had to wash my hands and wear a mask when I was in his room just because of airborne STDs and humorless jokes coming out of his face. It really was a hazardous condition.
Well, I love having these kind of stories just because the fact that, that, like I said, a lot of our followers follow In Hot Water.
Yeah, too bad you didn't have a black light and walk in there to see all the...
No. Gino's far too racist for that kind of light.
Okay. So, sorry, that really got me.
He's something else, I'll tell you what.
That threw me off for a second. I'm like having a million thoughts in my head. I'm trying to think what else. As far as, and we kind of have I don't do very good segues, so Brian will make fun of me. So as far as relationships are concerned, we call it the relationship smash up.
Segue.
Yeah. Or in a relationship, basically, or marriage, what makes a relationship, or what's important to you in a relationship or your relationship that you would give advice to?
Do you want an actual answer, or are you looking for funny stuff?
You can do whatever you'd like.
No, honestly, I don't know. I think communication is really the key. We're both extremely mentally ill. My wife has she's born with anxiety that just triggers out of nowhere. And she's actually the reason I'm aware of how mentally ill I am, believe it or not. It didn't even take a career in comedy for that. I have severe obsessive compulsive disorder. I'm really a textbook version. If you read the description of what OCD is, it's basically me. So that's kind of what my personality is. And I didn't really know what I was dealing with my whole life. I come from kind of I don't want to call it archaic because I think that's disrespectful and wrong, but I kind of come from an old school family where if you're depressed, you're just serious. Do you know what I mean? It was but they didn't know any better. It's not anyone's fault. It's just my uncle had some problems mentally. He was a pretty bad addict, and he never really made it out of it. We lost him when I was 2. So I kind of grew up in a family watching what it does to you. And I think I was more like him than anyone ever realized. So it was like kind of so raw that I never really heard about him growing up. So I didn't know much about him until I was an adult. And I think because of that, everything kind of got locked away. And it was like, let's not talk about any of this because we don't want the same thing to happen or whatever. So I didn't really know much about the type of person I was through my life. I just questioned why I act or think certain ways. And it's so funny because it's probably the reason that I have a career. I'm very quick, and it's because my mind is so active. I just connect dots that don't normally get connected. And the fucked up ones make me really, like growing up, I was like, how can I think that stuff? And it like really fucked with me. And then as an adult, things started turning around where I met my wife, and her family is really, really, so bipolar disorder kind of runs in her family. And she's like, both of her grandmothers had it, a couple of her aunts. So it's like, she's really dealt with stuff like this her whole life. And she kind of recognized the onset anxiety in me, where she was like, I think that you have anxiety. And I'd never even heard of that word before I met her. That's my late 20s. Like, that's the type of environment I grew up in. And she, I was like, I think like my brain just works in a way where it's like, I can't turn it off. And it gets super fucking dark in there sometimes. And I don't understand. And yeah. And she was like, I don't think that you have anxiety. I think that you have obsessive compulsive disorder, and you get anxiety because of that. And so I started reading about it, and it was super fucked up. I read it, and it was like it was like someone wrote something about me.
Your biography.
Yeah, it was wild. And it really, like, I was pretty depressed for a while after that, just like reading about that. And it was like, I don't know how I'm going to deal with this, blah, blah, blah. And then I think what changed in my life was I stopped blaming myself. I stopped saying, why do I do this? Because I had an answer. I do this because I was born with this type of disorder. And what am I going to do about it? And how am I going to live with it? Rather than when am I going to stop? It's like, how am I going to live with this? And now I just use it to my advantage. I understand kind of what's real, what's not. I understand my mind manipulates situations and makes me feel certain emotions, even though I don't typically, in that moment may not actually be feeling that. I'll make myself feel like I'm doing that. It's kind of like when you have cancer and you don't know what's happening and you're just sick and all this stuff is breaking down. And then you find out you have cancer and there's ways of treating it. Your life is completely different. That's kind of the same way that I approach the disorder that my brain puts out. Is like, once you know what you're dealing with, you can live with it and kind of use it. It sounds super dramatic to say all of this. It's just it's an overall way of saying, like, I never really knew how my brain worked until I met my wife and she told me how it worked. And then for the first time, she was the first person really in my life to ever be like, other people do that, or like, that's normal. And I totally get it. And not just be like, stop thinking like that.
Right.
So that really helped me. So I think the best, like, her and I are at our best when we're full on connected, talking each other through shit. When I'm talking her down when she gets anxious, or when she's helping me kind of like ground and root when I feel like I'm mentally spiraling out of control. Which you could also follow in my tweets. There's some days where I'm just like fucking doom and gloom and just, joking out of it. And some days where it's just everything's all good. And, they're just like silly jokes that I'm making. But she really is we kind of just like anchor each other down. So it's like more so like, hey, look, this is what I'm going through. I woke up today just feeling like this. I'm just going to have a bad day and it sucks, but this is what I'm going through. And she'll say the same. And it's so funny because I've always been like a calloused hand kind of guy. I've never been a guy that's like, oh, I need to take a mental break or I need to do this. And I talk about it on stage now, honestly.
It's a good thing because a lot of people need to know about mental illness. It's fell through the cracks as far as.
Yeah, I would say my mind was always working. And I think that caused anxiety sometimes because it just never shut the hell up.
Right.
And the Lexapro, I take Lexapro.
Okay.
And that seems to have quieted my mind enough to where I can like function, and it's not, the anxiety definitely has lifted somewhat because.
Sure. Well, so what I talk about is that right now it's a really hard time to be a parent because it's a hard time to be a kid. And I don't mean that jokingly. I mean, we're so aware of mental illness. We're so aware of what we're dealing with that as parents now, I don't want to pass it on to my kids. So I'm overcorrecting shit now. There's got to be a balance. You know what I mean? And like I say, the way that I joke about it on stage is like, I'm not the first generation to deal with this. Like my dad's generation was pretty fucked up. His dad's was super fucked up. His father's forget about it. You don't even want to say some of the shit. But the problem is, if any of them had went to their dads and said, I'm just not feeling well mentally today, while their father was tending the fields, they would beat the shit out of them. So I have to deal with 3 generations of that type of suppression. And now I'm uncomfortable to get changed around my daughter because I don't want to put her in therapy.
Right.
That's where we are.
In I have Italian background, so you think of the Sopranos and how we don't go to therapy. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
We don't go to. My mom had mental illness. I have mental illness. I'm not gonna lie. He anchors me because I'm the and this is why I brought this up with you, and I didn't have any idea that you were going to tell the story, and I love that you did.
Yeah.
Because in our relationship, he's very calm, and I'm the erratic one.
Is that why he's walking away? Because he's so calm, he's got to go take a lap?
No, the fucking computer. We're having a bloopers day is what the fuck is going on.
No, I know.
I forgot to put the battery to the laptop, and of course it went lowering battery. It's a fucking bloopers day for us. But as far as, in relationships, and I think healthy relationships, like from what you're explaining to me, that seems like a very healthy relationship.
Oh, definitely.
Those people that are in relationships that don't have that support, they need to realize that if that other partner is not supporting them, communicating, trying to help them through those times, that's not a good relationship.
Right.
And that's why, I believe that you and your wife are very blessed that you found that. And I think that in a lot of ways you were brought together before of it. You know, me and him are Cancers. Not that I'm one of those horoscope people, but he's a Cancer and I'm a Capricorn. And when we were first dating, I looked it up and it was like, you'll either love each other or hate each other. That's what it said. And I thought, shit, I don't know if this is and I was young then. I was in my 20s. So I thought I believed in, the paper that said, that shit.
I think what really helps too is that you're friends first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, totally. That was the complete opposite of anything I had ever done. And it's not for any other reason than we both got out of a breakup. And it was like, it was the first time I ever said, I don't want to fuck this up, or it wasn't a line trying to fuck it up. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't a line of me trying to like pretend to be sensitive or something. I was legit like, oh man, if I lose this person, my whole life is different. And I don't know how. It's so funny. I don't know about horoscopes, but I'm a Gemini and my wife calls me a Cancer. So I don't know if that helps your information.
Yeah. Cancers or something. But Brian's a different kind of Cancer. So I'm thinking that you guys are on the opposite ends of the spectrum of Cancers is what I'm thinking.
Yes, I'm smart and she's slightly autistic. We are we it's like a seesaw. It's like a mental illness seesaw. We rarely ever go down at the same time. And I think it's because if one of us goes down and sees it taking the other one down, it'll snap that person out and go, okay, we can't do this. Right. And especially now that we have a kid, it's like, fuck this. Like, I'm going to lift you up. I'll sacrifice whatever I need, or I'll be better and I'll just snap out of it because I see you going down. I'm going to need you. And it's like, I think it's like that last ditch effort. If like, it's like if she's holding me up and I see her start to slip, I'm going to grab that, that top to kind of counterbalance. That's kind of how it goes.
In a relationship, no matter what it is, you are supposed to be each other's, what is it? Lifesavers. What are the things in the boat? Lifeboat. And like,
sure.
I was thinking of the pool thing.
A life preserver?
Life raft. Whatever
it's called.
Lifesaver.
Yeah.
Those are good.
They are freaking. Those are really good. Those are underrated.
I don't like them. I'm more of a.
You like the peppermint ones, don't you?
No.
Ugh.
No, I like the juicy ones, the ones that are squares. Jolly Ranchers.
Oh, Jolly Ranchers are good.
Those are the fucking bomb.
Now we're getting fucking crazy this morning.
I know, right? I'm needing sugar. Sugar, no coffee, just sugar. So I want to thank you again for being on our clusterfuck of a show this morning.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I honestly, there was a point there where I said it. I feel like I'm in a sketch right now. This feels like performance art. So I knew the name of the show was Strong Therapy. And I was like, is this like, do you remember that old MTV show Boiling Points where everyone was like behind the scenes just trying to piss someone off? And if they did, they lost their temper, they lost the show. I was like, this might be the show. I might just be in like some sort of glass enclosure in my laptop, just waiting. Just waiting to see if I fucking snap or if I just go with it. And I'm happy I had the patience.
Well. And the really funny part is now that I know what you explained during the whole show, now I know you were very calm through all that.
I was extraordinarily calm.
If I would have been that person, he would have been calm, and I would have been going, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" Like,
I am the guy that gets. I used to get into road rage arguments at lights, and I'm a New York driver. If someone cuts me off, I'm the guy that I pull up next to you in a red light and I just stare at you. And then until you roll down your window and go, "What's up?" And I go, "Are you fucking kidding me?" That's me. I have to stop that now because I have a kid. It's very difficult to be a father with road rage. This is real. I was trying to get into the left lane the other day, and I had my blinker on for like 4 blocks, and I live in New Jersey now, so I'm trying to be a little bit more calm. And this guy would not let me in. I had to turn left. I had to do it to get home. So I just squeezed my way in, and this guy throws up his arms like I ran over his mother in traffic. And I went fucking ballistic. I'm looking at my rearview mirror, yelling at the top of my lungs. I've had my blinker on for 4 blocks. You wouldn't let me in. I didn't cut you off. You're just a fucking dick. And I thought I won because the silence hit. He didn't say anything. But from the back seat of my car, my 1-year-old daughter went, "Dick." And that was the moment that I knew I truly lost. And I was like, okay, maybe we either send you in an Uber or I need to take some sort of fucking some classes on not doing this. Because here's the thing is like you find out you're having a kid and you think to yourself, I'm going to change everything about myself. And then you have the kid and you realize it's more about what's the best room I can go in so she won't see what I'm about to do.
Yeah.
And that's really,
you're a better parent than me because I don't even go into it. I'm just like, rah. So I'm going to really fuck up my kids.
Well, she's starting to do that. There's like an account in my head just racking up therapy bills because I'm so aware of mentally fucking her up. You know what I mean? It's hard when you watch someone get daddy issues. That's really difficult. When you see it happen, it's fucking.
Well, just so you know, I mean, your intentions with her. I mean, I can feel the love that you have for her.
Oh, it's the best thing in my life. It really is.
Yeah, I didn't know I could feel that strong of love. It was like crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's just a different type of love. It is. It's like this is, and I feel like I can feel I have people with the jokes, and then I get into this, and they're like, fuck this. I feel it's just different. It's like it's this inherent guttural, natural, instinctive connection you have with your kids. You can't help but feel that way, and with. Right. Your spouse or your partner or whatever you want to call it, it's different. It's different because you choose to do that. It's not like I naturally have this thing. I'm naturally attracted to her. We naturally get along. I like hanging out with her more than anyone else. But I still wake up and choose to do this because it does get difficult. When it gets difficult with my kid, it's like I can't help it. There's just this thing in you that like you have no choice, which makes me question how people like Casey Anthony are real. When it's like, what in the fuck happens in your head? Like, how do you fight that? It's so weird to me.
I agree. I'm kind of one of those parents.
Yeah, she's wanting to have another child.
I saw that. It's so funny to me. She said her biological clock is ticking. And
fucker, someone better fucking sterilize her.
Somebody should take a gun and shove it up her cooch.
She just needs to be sterilized. That should have been part of her shit.
I bet you Texas would legalize abortions if that's how they did that. If you were able to shove a gun up there.
I don't believe in abortion, but you know what? I fucking would make her. I'm a crime junkie person. And everything she did with, I don't know how anyone could harm a child. Just their own, someone else's. I don't
know how you'd live with yourself.
See how this is the crazy part of me that just threw me off on my imbalance of now I'm gonna fucking find out about this bitch that wants to have fucking children. Oh my God.
Well, look, at least I'm throwing you off with some edgy stuff. You know, we did a black joke and it threw you off. We did the Casey Anthony story and it threw you off. You know, that, Rogan.
She just
her rails are light.
That woman.
She's a partier.
Yeah.
Anthony loves her.
Anthony.
Cumia?
Yeah.
Oh, why?
Well, look, she's attractive. She is. She's physically attractive.
Kind of his type.
Some
like
big fucking tits.
I loved her in the CNN trial to get people to watch because it was a child story to get men to watch. They showed her kissing another girl at a bar. And that was like the headline. Guys are like, all right, now you have my attention. Did she murder that other broad or what happened?
Yeah, their dicks went.
Right.
They went, hello, what? Wait.
And she had her hair down on one side.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here for my brain to work. I'm here for this.
Yeah.
You know. So wanted to ask you, Kevin, what do you have coming up on your schedule?
Yes.
Tell our audience about your podcast.
Well, audience, I have a podcast called Just Joking. It's very funny, and I don't mind saying that. It took me 91 episodes to have the confidence to say that. It's a really good show. It's basically I sit down every week with a different comedian, and we break down what's happening in the world by making fun of it. That is the bio. I read some news stories, and it's basically comics just being comics off stage. This is what we do in the green room. It was born because Kevin Farley and I were on the road just trying to make each other laugh. We were at a cigar shop, and we saw a headline that we both thought was really funny, and we were just riffing on it. And he had asked me to do a podcast, and I went, this is what the show should be. And then he had his own podcast going on. So I ended up starting this with different comics. And we're 91 episodes, 92 episodes this week in. We do it every week. It's available everywhere you can download podcasts. But we've had everyone from Doug Stanhope and Todd Barry, Jamie Kennedy last week. Here's a fun one. Lisa Lampanelli just texted me back. She's going to be on soon. Yeah, it's a good one.
I like everyone. The last show I watched, I love him. I've loved him since I was a kid.
Who's that?
You just said his name.
Jamie Kennedy?
Yeah, Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah. Jamie was so fun. That was a really fun show. He was supposed to have 30 minutes, according to his publicist, and then he stayed on for over an hour because we just got him going.
Nice.
But it's really fun. Judy Gold, Jessica Curson, Mark Norman, Ari Shafir, Brad Williams. I mean, it runs the gambit of Voss and Bonnie, Bobby Kelly, and Sia. It's been a really, really good run. And if nothing else, I get good guests. So even if you don't like my jokes, you'll like the jokes that my my guests have. So it's set up, no interviews, no arguments, just jokes. And it's a fun time. So you can download that everywhere. I do stand up all the time in the city. I'm up, almost every night out there. So you could find follow me on Twitter is the best way to see where I'll be probably. That's at Kevin Dombrowski. On Instagram at Kevin Dombrowski Comedy. And next week, depending on when this comes out, let's just say November 11th at 8 p.m., I will be doing a live Just Joking for the New York Comedy Festival at New York Comedy Club.
Nice.
At 8 p.m., go to newyorkcomedyclub.com for tickets to that. It's a part of the actual festival. So that's a really fun time. We're going to have, we're working on a couple of big name guests to come through. It's going to be a bunch of surprises. And obviously Gino Visconti will not be there.
Well, again,
I heard that Artie Lang's doing his podcast again too.
Artie is doing his podcast. Yes, he's back to doing it twice a week. Artie is the reason that every one of my podcasts starts with shitting on Gino, is because Gino was the first episode. I knew people would listen to us together. I knew that we would be fun on air together. And I knew that if I was still trying to figure out what the format of the show was, he wouldn't shut the fuck up. And so I had Gino on. Artie was supposed to be the second guest, and he couldn't make it. It was like a Sunday. He texted me that he couldn't be around, and I scrambled, and I was really new at kind of booking all this stuff, so I didn't really know how to do any of it. So I was scrambling for a guest that I thought would do it, but the show still wasn't good enough to reach for like big names. I really wanted to get good before anything, and that's what you could say about my career. Is like, if you don't know anything about me other than I'm good on stage, then that's really all I give a fuck about. So the show, I wanted it to be good before it was like really, I pushed it or I put effort into it. And so Artie couldn't make it. So I scrambled again. And the joke was that I set up this like cold open with my producer, Adam Hineker, who also does Kevin Brennan's podcast. He does the Misery Loves Company, Kevin Farley's podcast, and all this other stuff. So I had Adam say, I just got a text from your guy and he can't make it. And and he sent someone else. And the bio of the show was that we had our first big name guest. He could not show up, but he sent another guest that's a bigger name that would be on the show as long as we didn't use his name to promote it. And it was Gino again. And I didn't think people would listen to us 2 weeks in a row. So I just teased it like that. And Gino acted like he was stuck out of the studio. Like, he just slept in the studio in between. Yeah. So it was this joke. And then Carlos Mencia, who's my mentor, was the third episode. And he came in and went, "Where's Gino?" And I went, "Gino's not a part of the show. It was just a thing." And he goes, "Well, I only came on because I thought Gino was going to be here." So every episode starts with a callback to that incident.
Nice.
It all just like kept going into this joke. And now it's just this thing where it's 91 episodes later. I think Gino's been on 3 times. So, 88 guests in, every single one has had something to say about Gino Visconti, which shows his longevity and his dislikability all in one. So you can listen to that podcast, available everywhere.
Awesome.
Sweet.
So there you go.
Well, thank you very much again for being on this shit show today. and make sure that I'll put all your information out there for our followers. And thank you again. You have a great day, and take care of that little baby, and love on your wife, and just be that little bubble of a family. You guys are amazing.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much,
Kevin.
Thank
you, sir.
Talk to you soon.
Bye. So, Brian,
that was nice.
That was a very, he's funny. I already knew that. But his realness today about what he discussed, it's kind of funny. I think sometimes in this world, things happen for a reason, because I've been a little displaced in my mind, a little nervous, a little upset myself. I think you're off a little bit.
I haven't been doing shit.
And I think that in that moment when he was saying all that, honestly, Brian, I felt like he was talking to us.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like talking. I mean, like, and I hope that someone out there that's watching the show.
You mean it was real?
It was real. It made me realize that although we do communicate well, it made me realize that we still need to communicate a little bit more right now, because I think we're both discombobulated right now.
Yeah, I heard a joke that you should get a lesbian friend because there's things that need to be done around the house.
What? See, sometimes I have no fucking clue what he's talking about, or I'm just so green.
I just haven't done anything around. I need to hang up shit. I need to do stuff for the podcast. I need to put the audio files from the past, 10 shows onto the frickin' website so people can listen to it. And I haven't even done that.
Yeah. I appreciate you wanting to teach me how to do that, but I really don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. There's just some things I don't want to do.
Yeah. Well, let's get to our news segments today.
Okay. So, welcome. So, I don't know if any of you have known about this, but we all know who Carol Baskin is, right? She had a Carol Baskin song.
She fed her husband to the lions.
Well.
Or the tigers.
Well, Carol Baskin
Supposedly.
sues Netflix for using footage of her in Tiger King 2, which comes out November, I think, 18th. I'll check the thing. So, the best picture ever. Anyways,
I love my tigers and lions and things that I really shouldn't be fucking with.
Yeah. So Baskin alleges that Royal Good Productions has breached contract by continuing to use footage of her and her husband in Tiger King 2, since they only signed release forms for the first documentary. So basically, during her contract with all that, they only discussed one show.
Mm-hmm.
They would say,
I bet in the fine print it was like, if we reuse old footage, that's okay too, or something like that.
well, from what it says or what I read, it was stated a documentary motion picture.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't say pictures. And throughout the appearance releases, there is only reference to and mention of the picture. No mention is made of granting Royal Good Productions sequel rights to create derivative works from the picture or additional seasons or episodes, the lawsuit states. So she wants them and her husband to remove any and all footage of both of them, which...
Well, would they have a show then?
That's my point. Let's see.
This one lady has tigers and bears and things she shouldn't be having.
Little Miss Baskin. Baskin has been vocal about her disdain for Tiger King 2, telling Variety shortly after the sequel series was announced, I wouldn't call Eric Good or Rebecca Chalklin true documentarians. Fuck. I mean, that was just a reality show dumpster fire.
Mm.
Yeah. In the lawsuit, Baskin Robbins. Baskin also lists out her qualms about the docuseries.
Tell me about your 31 flavors, woman. You got tiger sprinkles, baby?
Oh, wow. Alleging the project was originally described to her as being an expose. Now, anyways, that word with tigers and her.
I bet she loves the mamas and papas.
An expose of the big cat breeding and club petting trade, akin to the documentary feature filmed entitled Blackfish. Instead, it centered on Joe Exotic and his animal park. So, we all know that those of you that watched it, we know that this was just, I've used this word a lot today, a clusterfuck of a show and a clusterfuck of people. I mean, we all remember grills, right? There's some fucked up grills with these people.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was a skit when I first started watching it.
Apparently today people have been thinking a lot of things are skits.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Tiger King 1 series wrongly attempted to, this is how she feels, attempted to suggest that Big Cat Rescue abuses animals by keeping them in very small cages, which of course the picture in the background has a lion in it that is not enough room.
Yeah, that's more like a cage for a dog.
Exactly. Very small cages, while not making clear that the animals actually reside in expansive enclosures. Well, you would think if she was intelligent during an interview, maybe she should have them in the expansive area instead of caged during the videotaping.
The house behind us has a barn, 2 barns. And years ago, the owner used to have tigers. He had a tiger and a bear until finally the city ordinance came and said you can't have those
and tigers and bears
animals here in the city limits.
Yeah, we love this area because there's the history in that. Oh God, you know what that was? Get Brian lunch.
I like sweet lunch.
Yeah. So, So she repeatedly denies any involvement in the disappearance of her husband, Don Lewis. It will be premiering November 17th. So even though she put the fucking lawsuit into effect, it's not going to stop production and us to be able to watch it.
Well, I hope production's done.
Well, you know what I mean. So hopefully we'll get some good skits coming out. I hope Chrissy Mayer has some. I know that she does a damn good Carol Baskin.
True.
Carol Baskin. Carol.
Yeah,
Carol
I
Baskin.
think she's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's coming from me, too, who is nuts. But she's like murderous nuts.
Yeah, that's the bad nuts.
That's her husband.
Those are the Brazil nuts of crazy.
So I also was rooting around the internet trying to find some articles for us to talk about. And this next one, we're going to go back to relationship therapy. I'm a little unorganized today, but...
You mean relationship smash up?
Yeah, that one. You think? Anyways. So, the reason I brought this up for relationship smash up, Brian, is lately on TikTok, there's been a realization that there's insecurities are screaming out that women go viral for calling men short kings.
Short king.
On TikTok. So this at Sandy Kosmatsky, Sadikhansk, she has went around and during some live videos, she'll just randomly call guys.
It's just for pure entertainment.
Short king. But the reactions, and this is what was the fun part. I laughed out loud because to me, a short king is, I referenced it to.
Well, they had little kings back in the day. They're little beers. I don't know if they still have those or not.
But I sat there and thought she was referring
bitter
to their penises, right? A short king, right? Because remember, don't want no short man.
Short what, man?
Short man. I used to say short tort. Kind of like Digger, Jed, and Lionel.
Oh, yeah. I gotcha.
We don't want no eeny, weeny, teeny, weeny, shriveled little short tort man. Right? Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, she puts it out there, and the funny part is what the guys are thinking. So if we want to play, I've got a few of them to share with you guys, and we'll just share and watch those together and then make a comment or two or three.
Short kings for pure entertainment.
We love a short king. I'm 6'1". I could have anyone I wanted.
Sadie, wait, what? We love a short king.
Are these the short kings?
Wait.
She just puts,
I know you say no. I'm not
we
short.
love a short king.
I'm not short.
I love a short king. I'm sitting down right now.
She's like, I'm a king, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Ain't no short this here.
Not at all.
Sadie, we love a short. We need short king.
Look, he stands up. He's like,
6 foot.
I'm tall. I'm not short.
The word short for my life. I'm not short. I'm 6 foot.
We love a short king.
Who said it was short?
This guy laughs, but then he's like, I'm not short. He completely.
Following random guys on my For You page, short kings for pure entertainment.
We love a short king. I'm 6'1".
So
I could have anyone I wanted.
they're having like communications back and forth or something?
They're on a live,
Yeah.
and then she's just messaging.
Damn, this
saying,
motherfucker broke out the
Following random guys
I know,
on
the
my For You
insecurities
page,
that
short
they
kings
have.
for pure
Like,
entertainment.
I wouldn't even, things that would bother me, I guess.
I measure myself at the hair, bitch.
I'm not gonna lie. But here,
Yeah.
I'm gonna prove to you that
5'10". That's what I'm talking about.
Following
Shut
random
up.
guys
My
on
sister
For You
Mary,
page, short kings
she's
for
only
pure
5 foot.
entertainment.
And she always told me she was 5'2", which makes her taller than me. But she always measured with her hair.
You say you short.
I'm proud of my 5'1 1/4.
Not even short.
I like
Not
that I
short,
fit
you're tall.
perfectly in your little snuggle shoulder.
Tall.
But look at this guy. He stands up again.
You can't even see my head. That's how tall I am.
I know.
Shit.
Exactly. Hey,
Hi, I'm in a hunting booth, and I'm taller than the deer.
he looks like a tennis
He's
player.
like, I don't even give a fuck. I am short. Fuck it.
No, they're all look, they stand up to like, he starts to and then he's like, well, never mind.
6'1", bro.
We love a short king.
Short.
Why do people
Go
leave
with
those little tags on their hat? That's so
Probably to show that
stupid.
it's new.
Yeah, well.
All right.
Merchandise
Well,
Short Kings for Pure Entertainment Part 3.
awesome.
If you're under
Yeah, I
6
don't
foot
know.
4,
I think it's just the isn't that like I would rather put something like isn't that cute? You have an extra belly button.
Like I heard before, I have an acorn taped to the bottom of my abdomen.
Yeah, they're so worried about their height. I mean, I don't think my hat's making my itch. Did everybody see my hat? How cute it is. Uncancelable. Yes. A gift from Aaron Berg. Thank you very much. I always dated someone just a little taller than me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would have a problem if someone was as tall as me, but I'm short.
Right.
But I never thought about height or penis size. Very pleased with your size. But as far as that's concerned, I don't know why there's an insecurity about it. Like, do you think that if you were shorter, because you're 6'2", right?
6'2", 6'3", somewhere in there.
Yeah. So do you think if you were shorter, you would have an insecurity about it?
It's a good question because
Do you have an insecurity with
I
that
probably
you are
would.
tall?
I probably would have an insecurity with it, I would think, with at least height. Just because I always wanted to be taller for basketball.
So not necessarily for relationships or anything like that. It was just
it was specifically basketball. I kept telling myself, I need to get taller. I need to grow, you know, and
well, you're blessed. I had to, my dad would say things like, Carolyn, you got to break 5 feet. If not, you're going to be a midget. So I just wanted to break 5 foot. So I was so happy.
I wanted to get to like somewhere between 6'5" and 6'7". So that's a pretty decent height for basketball. But
so is that a goal that that you feel that a lot of guys have, is to be tall? Is that maybe embedded into you because of sports?
I think I think in general, people
we always talk about females and
like taller people. You know, I think most women prefer a taller man to breed with. That's just, I think it's just human nature to
look at someone as taller, stronger, that type of thing. Because when we look at this, as far as, you know, we talk a lot in society about women and what society expects from them. But this is something that's kind of new to me, what's expected for what men feel like they're being discussed about their physicality, right? Am I saying that correctly? But
you never hear of anybody being tall shamed.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You tall motherfucker!
Yeah.
Dust off that fan!
Hey, reach up and grab me that tall apple off the top of that tray.
Get me the fine dishes off the top shelf.
It was funny. It's funny that you say that. I was grocery shopping the other day, and I needed to get the whatever macaroni and cheese, and the kind I needed was all the way at the top. And my little short ass, I'm like trying to figure out, I'm like looking up, and I'm like, how am I going to get that? They're out
You need
down
one of them
here.
reacher hands.
So wait, so I start climbing the shelf.
Oh, jeez.
And then I get down and I'm like, I can't climb the shelf. This is going to break. And then all of a sudden, over my shoulder, this guy's hand just reaches up and he hands it to me. It was so sweet. And I like went like this because it felt like you, right?
Huge.
And I turn around and it's him and his wife is just as short as me. She said, I thought I'd lend my husband to you. And I said, thank you, because my husband's home with the kids. And I was like, oh, so sweet. I was like, usually when I'm grocery shopping, this doesn't always happen, but the way we've been short on food and milk, the shelves are bare. Wonder why that's happening. Oh, anyways, that's another thing that pisses me off in life. What else? So what do you have planned this week?
As far as what?
Just life. Just trying to give him some insight.
I really need to get shit done around the house. That's what I need to do. That's my goal. And I need to lose weight, a lot of weight.
I need to get some stuff done around the house. Next week on Strong Therapy, we are going to have Big A. Very excited to have Big A. Big A! And also, we have a special guest calling in as well. So please come next week and watch our shows. Remember, Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. Also,
yeah, we need to change we need to change our display because it still says 6 p.m.
I've got the stuff. I need to fix it. Thank you, Matt. Also, what else?
Old man.
Old man, where are you, old man? Old man. Hi, old man. How are you?
I'm all right.
You're doing good?
Yep.
What'd you think of the show today?
Yeah, Kevin's pretty funny, and he's seems like a real nice guy.
Yeah, I think so too. I hope next time we go to New York, maybe we could meet him and go watch a show of his.
Sure.
Yeah, sounds, well, not you, unless you want to come, but usually me and Brian go.
Yeah, I do like to come. Dust.
You come, Dust?
Dust on the water.
Digger.
Coming from inside me. Dust to dust in the water. As I'm standing over it.
My stomach just made a noise. I think I need Carolyn lunch and Brian lunch.
I like lunch.
You do? So what did you think about the article about Carol Baskin?
She sounds like a nut to me.
She's a little different.
She's like an almond joy.
Ew, I never liked almond joys either.
I don't like her.
No. I do like that she wears the little flower wreath.
Freaking hippie.
Weird.
Weird.
Well, we will see you all next week. You like those tatas? Anyways, thank you for joining Strong Therapy. We'll see you next week. Thanks. Have a good week. Bye.